Today we will be talking about the most dog breeds. The evolved, I mean, as compared to the original material being wolves. So, as a long story short, I think the Bull&Terrier is the most evolved dog breed. Why? Of course, you can look at dog breeds in different manners. But for me, if I think about developing, evolving, it should also be performing. And being so, it should be performing different than the material it started with, otherwise it hasn't changed that much. So why is the Bull&Terrier, or the class of Bull&Terriers, the most evolved dog breed? I will tell you. One, they have a very good athletic body, and you could say, yeah, that has the wolf the same. That's true, but they have developed a completely different type of body. They've developed a body that has extreme power and heat regulation in a light package. And wolves very often are a lot bigger, so that's one. Another point is especially the character. So the character of a Bull&Terrier is completely opposite to that of a wolf. A wolf is a survivor, wants to stay alive, wants to live another day, whereas a Bull&Terrier goes in for the win. Even if the winning is not an option, the Bull&Terrier will think it is, and even if it doesn't think it is winning, it will still try to engage, which is very different and natural, even if you want to state it like that, compared to the wolf. That being said, Bull&Terriers have very high athletic ability. They can even beat other breeds in performance stakes, being a sled mill race, being a weight pool competition, being a high jump competition, tug of war, you name it, they can do it. But they were specifically developed to be a formidable opponent with very little weaknesses. So they have a strong head, stronger than that of a wolf. If you compare the sizes, they have good legs. They have a coat that allows them to exchange heat very effectively, so they can cool down better than many other breeds. Whereas a naked dog, for example, would be very easy to damage, to infect. Also, the Bull&Terriers is still quite sturdy, even with their short coat. And also, the Bull&Terrier has that character that is completely opposite to many a natural animal. That being said, it's not a gameness is not found in animal kingdom. For example, male lions are known to fight to the death when they are challenged for their pride. So a male lion has a pride of lionesses, and those lionesses do the majority of hunting, but the male lion does the majority of protection, especially against other male lions. Other male lions are known to kill other cubs to make their own lineage. Goedemorgen, instead of those of other lions. So it's of a big importance also for the continuation of the pride that a lion is able to defend its pride. And when he is challenged, because he's getting older as a lion, male lion, and then oftentimes he's challenged even by two younger upcoming lions that don't have a pride and join forces to overthrow that big older lion. But then he doesn't run because he thinks, okay, I cannot handle those two. He will fight to the death, like the Japanese say, death before dishonor. So that's an example of gameness in the animal kingdom. Another example can be found with those of the marten family, For example, honey badger, wolverine, but also badgers, and even the small version like the ermine, and even smaller the weasel, and other martens are known to face off with a lot bigger animals. Wolverines, for example, are known to face off even with bears, even polar bears, for prey, and they can do this because they are known to not back off. They are also able to kill, for example, a moose. And the small weasel, maybe 50 gram, is known to kill animals that are 40 times its weight. For example, a big rabbit or a hare, if he's a little bit lucky that he can get to the vein in the neck. So that's incredible features of gamers. Also members of the civet cat family, including the mongooses, are known to be formidable opponents. So gamers is also found the ability to fight against odds stacked completely against you in the animal kingdom in a natural form, but wolves do not have this. They are members of the pack. They will fight hard, but as a pack, and they are not interested in getting hurt beyond repair. It's a falcon in the tree, because that will disallow their ability to fight another day. You also see this, for example, in cheetahs, who even back down sometimes when a jackal comes to steal their prey. And you can imagine that the cheetah is a lot stronger, but if he got hurt by the jackal, he will not able to do the hunting that he does. So very speedy. Nice falcon. It's a tower falcon. And therefore you rather let the jackals steal his food than to face them full on. And that cat-like animal is so much bigger and larger than those jackals, and he will just scatter. And wolves are not like that, but they have a little bit of similar traits, that they don't want to get damaged. Also, when wolves kill big dogs, often pride doesn't. And the pack of wolves is its power. And the Bull&Terrier is more of a solo working animal. It depends on itself. It faces off going to fire and hell and all other things that people think that exist. Hell doesn't exist. But they will go the long mile, the long road, through all the pain and troubles, and they will still keep going without other dogs to help them out. Only the handler perhaps has a little role, but even that role is quite limited. There's also the ability that they will face off with a much larger hawk, which a wolf wouldn't alone. But a Bull&Terrier, being a gripping dog, it would just grip and hold on. And that makes it such a special animal. Also, that if you look at canine athletics, there's no other animal that's so devastatingly good athlete as the Bull&Terrier is. Especially its most evolved form being the American Bull-Terrier. But if you look within the animal kingdom, you see that also American Bull-Terriers are sometimes used as hunting dogs, and completely opposite to many a hunting dog. That's just a baying type of dog, and sniffing, which oftentimes doesn't kill on its own, only in a big pack, for example hounds. And when a gripping dog engages, then they will engage as well, but they are quite cowards, so to say. Much more cowards than wolves would be in that large numbers, if the prey is able to defend itself. Whereas a gripping dog just goes. If you have one gripping dog and a pack of hounds, the hounds will chime in. But that once they take down, and the wolves also do, quarry. And you could also think about other members of the Bull&Terrier group, for example this Patterdale Terrier. Albeit its functionality is a hunting dog, so closer to the wolf, a pit dog of course, but they cope on the ground, which wolves normally do not, and they are also solo walkers, which wolves do not, and they will face other predators, which wolves sometimes do. If you have wolves, you oftentimes have a lot less jackals or foxes. But they will face them, badger and foxes, in their own dens, on their own turfs, which wolves normally don't do. They will just chase it and see what they can do, but they are not following into dens that often. So that perhaps could be an even more evolved animal, and an animal that will face off with a badger, one of the biggest members of the marten family, is also an animal that has big of attributes of the gameness in it. So they have similar will to go on beyond what a wolf wants. A wolf wants to limit damage and be smart about it, whereas a gripping dog, including even a Patterdale Terrier or Border Terrier, will engage and hold on and try to dispatch of the vermin. Sometimes it dies trying to dispatch. So also Patterdale Terriers are animals that have to face their quarry alone. Sometimes the diggers will dig fast to them in the quarry, and that will be an easier challenge. But if the badger goes deep, for example, and they have to dig a lot of time, it is known that Patterdales are with the quarry, in this case the badger, for over 5 hours of time. And also you can imagine that underground a badger, especially, which is a formidable digger, is able to make tunnels collapse and also give you a lot of other troubles, which is unnatural as well for the wolf-like descendants. So that could be an alternative one. That might be the case. And perhaps you think, yeah, I think there are better athletes, for example, greyhounds that are a lot faster than wolves are. That's true. They are different, but in so many senses they are less of an athlete as compared to Bull&Terrier. Bull&Terrier is also fast. It's developed to give you maximum force in a weight class, so it doesn't have to be too heavy normally. But it's a lot more explosive, also a lot more powerful. It's a lot better puller, for example, for the same body weight. And it also has more of the ability to engage and for example, make life hard for a formidable quarry, such as for example a big hawk. They even are known to attack lions or bears, which wolves will very seldomly do, if at all, especially if they are not with an enormous amount of animals. And for example, greyhounds will hunt quarry, but only quarry that's easy and cannot damage them that much. For example, greyhound might face off with a fox, but this little guy will also face off with it and will dispatch of it so much quicker. And the greyhound is a huge type of dog. But for example, with a hawk they won't engage. And the deer, they will not be good in dispatching of it, whereas a wolf would easily dispatch of it. And the American Pit Bull Terrier or another Bull&Terrier, even this little guy, once he gets a grip, a deer is has a lot of trouble getting it off or even escaping. So therefore we chose for the Bull&Terrier as the most evolved dog. And they also have enormously people friendliness, because they were bred for pit work. They're against each other fighting, sometimes breaking their bones, completely ripped to pieces, and they would still keep going against the opponent. But also they would still be friendly against their own handler that was in the pit, but also the opponent's handler, and very often also the referee. So you can imagine if the dog will be disqualified if he would try to attack one of those 3 humans present, then they would not be selected to be human aggressive. There would have a very big discrimination between human aggressiveness and animal aggressiveness, which you also find as a big characteristic in many of the breeds. I'm not saying that all will have the same abilities and characteristics, so always use your own good understanding and supervision, but it is a specific characteristic that makes them one of the most human-friendly animals there are. And if you compare this with wolf type of dogs that are quite aloof of humans, not super friendly, and also have at least the same human aggression as they have animal aggression. And for example, if you take a wolf dog, a hybrid between wolf and dog, a complete wolf would be very dangerous to keep, but even a wolf dog, the first generation, is very big risk to keep. So that's a complete opposite in my opinion. Also, a wolf is an all-rounder, good at almost everything. Perhaps not excellent, but very fast, very good endurance, good power, and also good ability to kill and to sniff out, for example, whereas Bull&Terrier is more specialist, very good in the combat, but it's not bred to have a very good nose. That in contrary to a little bit of the Patterdale Terrier, which have quite a good nose because they are hunting dogs. That you need to know if a set is active or is a waste of energy, for example. And also Patterdales, even though they are very small, are sometimes used as catch dogs for hawks, especially young ones. You have a lot less chance on big injuries on the little piglets, feral piglets, or little hoglets. If you use a Patterdale, then you can raise them, especially in the southern regions of the USA, but also other countries. They keep these wild hoglets and then they feed them with waste or something else, and they see them when they grow, then they slaughter them and have a lot of more meat than they would if they just killed them as small hoglets. So I hope this video was interesting to you. It was nice for me to make and also tell you about this opinion that I have. Would love to hear yours. Have a great day. In this video we will discuss Bull&Terriers and answer the question, are they all cut from the same cloth? And for completeness sense, I will mention in this case Border Terrier, Patterdale Terrier, working strain Staffordshire Bull Terrier, and American Pit Bull Terrier. I will not go into breeds that are not being worked anymore, but I can mention a little bit about the standard Staffordshire Bull Terrier and the American Staffordshire Terrier, which is a show version of the American Pit Bull Terrier. But unfunctional breeds such as Boston Terrier that carries that name, or Bull Terriers, and I know that some Bull Terriers are still being worked, but they are developed out of show stock, including miniature Bull Terrier I won't mention. So without further ado, let's get into the subject, and we will discuss why they might be, but also what are the differences, and those differences can be substantial. So first, the Border Terrier and the Patterdale Terrier. These terriers carry a bit less bull blood, but are still bull and terriers. And also if you, for example, look at the head of the smallest one, the Border Terrier you see a very strong bull type head. Let's drop this. And the Patterdale Terriers, it depends a lot on the strain. So Patterdale is also known as the Fell Terrier. And some have a lot more terrier influences, whereas the others are more Bull and Terrier in their influence. But this is a Patterdale Terrier, and you can also see that its head is still quite sturdy. Not as sturdy, for example, as a Border Terrier would be from the same size, or another one of this breed group. But for a Terrier, they are very sturdy. So the Border Terrier is the smallest, and it's a rough coated or broken coated dog, whereas most Bull Terriers are smooth coated. It is a dog that is predominantly used as a show breed these days, but still some strains are being worked and hunted. It's a good dog against fox, also badger. It is a real gripping dog, so silent, and really tries to work instead of baying. Not that I disrespect baying dogs, because they are very smart and to take a lot less damage. There's also only one thing that they have against them, and that's that sometimes the quarry can get loose a lot easier with a non-gripping dog. And the other thing is that as a pet they are quite noisy compared to the silent, strong type that the Bull Terriers are, in my opinion. So that's a big benefit. Also, as a house dog, they might be one of the least driven of the small Bull Terriers, and therefore perhaps a very good choice. Also, if you like this type of coat, this could be a good choice for you. Then one step upwards, which is the Patterdale Terrier, also known as the Black Fell. These come in 3 coat varieties. So long hairs, like a Lakeland Terrier, and also a broken coat, looking quite a bit like a tuned down version in coat as compared to the Border Terrier, and a smooth coat variety that we have here that I like the most. I'm not saying that those other coats could not serve a purpose, because they do. They are for more protection, not only from the environment, but also, for example, from brambles and other pointy bushes. So they have big benefits. This coat, the smooth coat, has the benefit that it really easily lets go of sand and mud. So it's hard to suffocate in a den with a smooth coat, because not a lot of debris will be in there, and that can close the airstream. Also a benefit for the average family is when they go into the dirt, you can just wipe them off very easily. Some deers, bad deers. Now you can look at him quite well. And they get a little bit stress. And they normally come in predominantly in black, but sometimes also in, it's a darker deer, as you can see. Sometimes also in brown shades, or even black and tan. The thing about these type of terriers, both the Border Terrier and the black Fell or the Patterdale Terrier, is that they are able to collapse their chest, which the other Bull Terriers are not that able to, and also they have enormous strength and also mass for the chest circumference that they have. They might look a lot lighter, less bulky, so to say, than the other Bull Terriers, but for their chest they bring enormous strength and size. And that's a logical fact, because they had to have the most strength possible for the chest size. and is different as compared to other Bull&Terriers, which were normally pitted at a certain weight. So regardless of the size, the weight was then the deciding factor. Whereas in the Patterdale and also the Border Terrier, it's very important that you have a good, nice horses, especially that lighter one. This is a lot more athletic horse, but also nice. But that you have maximum power in that compact chest size, which can also collapse to a degree, like those of foxes, but not to the degree of a fox, which is very athletic and able to squeeze through almost everything. But that being said, that's a big difference. So you have the Earth Terriers, such as the Earth Bull&Terrier, so to say, such as the Border Terrier, but also the Patterdale Terrier, which have a very big mass as compared to the chest size, and also have the ability to collapse the chest to a degree, and being worked on wild animals predominantly, and able to squeeze in small parts. So we talked about that. Now we can move forward to the English and American direct descendants of the Bull&Terrier of the past, which was developed in England as a pit dog, and now we know the English as a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, or the performance line as Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Especially the Irish Staffordshire Bull Terrier comes to mind, because they tested their dogs for a longer period of time, and therefore were able to keep the closer to the original working dog as compared to the show dog that we now know as the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. The show dog Staffordshire Bull Terrier is less driven, could be easier for a family, but the drawback is that they are also less healthy and less stable sometimes, because normally a Staffordshire Bull Terrier has quite high aggression, and the working ones towards other dogs, because they are closer to the pit dogs of the heydays, so that's quite normal. Whereas the modern type Staffordshire Bull Terrier, oftentimes this has been bred out to make it an easy show dog. It can be easy for you, but sometimes they also have the extreme human friendliness that the Staffordshire Bull Terrier is known for, can also suffer sometimes, because those animal aggressiveness, especially against other dogs, is coupled to that extreme human friendliness, because in the pit they have to be very willing to engage the opponent, the other dog, even when hurt to a high degree, but also would not attack humans. So keep this in mind. The Staffordshire Bull Terriers were more developed in-house, so a limited amount of Staffordshire Bull Terriers, whereas the American ones were more developed outside on big yards, so they had a lot of more stock to choose from. So they could choose better athletes, so to say, but also their character among family members was less important. I hope this is understandable. Then the Irish one, they have all the benefits of the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, but are far more athletic and more working driven. These are aggressive dogs sometimes to other dogs, so that will be different. Health is a lot better, they are more athletic, better heat transfer through their body. I really think that the show Staffordshire Bull Terrier, some lines carry bulldog blood in the case of show bulldogs, such as French bulldog or English bulldog lines. It's hard to prove without DNA, but those show bulldogs carry pug blood, which is just a lap dog that's completely unfunctional. So, that being said, we can close it with the Irish Staffordshire Bull Terrier, which was still used in the fiestas more before being granted to be bred as a register a dog, so they had to stay with the badger for at least 5 minutes, or better still pull it out. And those bigger strong dogs were really able to pull them out. Badger is formidable quarry, but on the other hand, smaller dogs such as Patterdale Terriers do the same, and they weigh half the size or even 1/3. So that can also give you some insight. And on the other hand, also the Irish were longer active in the dog fighting ring as compared to the English Staffordshire Bull Terriers, and therefore they deviated a little bit. And the Irish being close to the original. Then to the other side of the pond, the American ones. Most people think that pit bulls are this really massive type of dogs. Mostly those that are still working are not that massive. The pit bull is especially known for its work in the pits, of course. The American Pit Bull Terrier is the best breed for its size to do so. So they are still very strictly being bred to give you most strength for their weight, different to the Earth Terriers, which bring you most strength for their chest size. And they differ from the English Irish counterparts, that they very often are lighter in frame, oftentimes also more diversity. So if you look at Staffordshire Bull Terriers, you still can see some spreads, as you can see in all working type of dogs, even in the Irish ones. Some are quite light, some are quite bully, so to say. They pack more muscle and more mass into the compact frame, whereas those more terrier line are lighter in the bone. They carry more height for the same mass. There's also a benefit, of course, especially at the longer endurance type of task. But those in the United States, some are very strong and are bred to be quick finishers. And if they are there, it's easy on the dog because there's less damage sustained. But some are also being bred the original way, and that they are bred for gameness and very high endurance. And those might not be as strong as the other ones, but if the clashes take longer, they are extremely able. So there's some more variation, and also they are very game, so to say. So they have a high degree of gameness. The Bull&Terriers are already a lot more game than your average dog family, but members, especially on the American Pit Bull Terrier, are known to be the gamest on earth. Perhaps only the Patterdale Terrier can surpass it in some tails, but it's hard to discriminate, because a lot of the work a Patterdale Terrier will do, even if they go 5 hours against a badger, is somewhere that is away from the human eye, because they are working the earth. But Patterdales are known to keep going, also with enormous damage done by, for example, a badger, whereas American Pit Bull Terriers are fighting against each other normally, and the damage can, in my opinion, be at least as severe as by the badger. But not being said that the badger is not a formidable quarry. They are, and they will kill a lot of dogs, but also other things can kill them. For example, the badger digging and making the tunnels collapse and suffocating the dog, or the lights. Okay, so back to the American Pit Bull Terrier. They are highly dog aggressive. Sometimes, if you look at American Staffordshire Terrier, they are sometimes less dog aggressive than the Staffordshire Bull Terrier, the English cousins, whereas they are derived from American Pit Bull Terriers. How come? American Staffordshire Terrier was more developed as a farm dog, so less dog aggressive and more human protector type of dog as well, so against human intervention, whereas the pit dogs are very often extremely human friendly, not all, but most are. The American Staffordshire Terrier is more of an aloof dog in general. And both have been used also on hawk hunting as a catch dog. A smaller one than the American Bulldogs or Dogwalker T-Bucks are, but used to bring courage also to those lines, and good vascular, cardiovascular systems, good endurance, good heat tolerance, because all those aspects are also part of the game. And yeah, of course, an American Staffordshire Terrier will bring you a lot of the size, or very often more bulk than an American Pit Bull Terrier. A lot less driven. It could be an easier dog for the average family. Also, less dog aggressive. American Pit Bull Terrier, on the other hand, is a lot more athletic, a lot more healthy, a lot more capable, a lot more brave, and will really go to the end if needed. So it depends also on what you want. As an athlete, there's no comparison between the show version. Also between Irish Staffordshire Bull Terrier and showbred Staffordshire Bull Terrier. But the American Pit Bull Terrier has evolved so many generations and is so bred so pure. So then they purify the bloodlines and have a high degree of line and also inbreeding. And then they go out again and mix them with other lines. And especially those first crosses, so they call them battle crosses, but they are within the same breed, but of different lines. Oftentimes very pure examples of those lines. The purer the example is, of course, the higher that you can predict how it will react and what it will inherit to its offspring. But if you go too pure, you also get inbreeding depression, of course. And if you breed to a completely different dog, for example a wolf or something like that, you will also get outbreeding depression. In the case that you get a dog that is not suitable for the work intended of either of those parents, so completely deviating. Whereas if you breed within the same American Pit Bull Terrier, which is also called honest bulldogs, then you get a high predictability. And oftentimes the first generation really is very strong. They have maximally heterosis, and then they are pulled back into the line of that specific breeder. And to also improve what they give to their offspring. So those F1s are oftentimes very good performers, playing in the sky. But also a lot of times it's harder to predict if they can inherit those characteristics to their offspring. Very often they are worse at it than that ugly brute bitch that you see there, but that's of the tight family, and then you get a higher degree of those characteristics. Especially that gameness is quite hard to keep. So it must be a multifactorial gene set that's hard to combine, and it could also deviate from one dog to the other. So therefore, if you breed pure, you also make the gene set poorer of genes that do not contribute to gameness, and then they have a higher chance. And if you then dilute it with another game strain, it could be that they have the same click, so they develop the same type of dogs, but sometimes it's also dependent on other gene mutations in those strains. So therefore, very often it's pulled back into one of those lines that they like the most. So the American Staffordshire Terrier is more of a bulky type of dog, also a good family dog. All Bull&Terriers are. So the Bull&Terriers can give you a lot of the relaxed sense, but also are extremely high driven, especially those that are still being worked, which I like the most, but can also very relaxed chill out with, for example, a Border Terrier or a Patterdale Terrier. Very active little buggers will be able to chill out also in house, whereas a Yacht Terrier will have it quite hard and will always be very active in general, and therefore not so suitable to be kept also in the family in-house, but a very good and able all-round hunter that will take a lot less damage than a gripping dog does, because they bay a lot more and keep their distance as a result. As a pure family dog, I think an Irish Staffordshire Bull-Terrier or a Staffordshire Bull-Terrier could be the best. But on the other hand, the Border Terrier or Patterdale Terrier is a lot easier and more portable and smaller, and therefore we chose that route. The Purple Terrier is the ultimate canine athlete, but a lot more of a dog and also more of a liability in my opinion. And American Staffordshire Terriers also have the negative aura a lot more because they are bigger. He has found a cat behind the fence. He wants to go. That's a good thing, eh? Keep the neighborhood animals safe. It's with all types of dogs the case, but especially those that have a higher prey drive, for example hunting dogs, in particular those that are also very capable of chasing. So for example a terrier would be easier to chase a cat under a car than a hound, a bloodhound for example, which is a lot more bulky type of dog. Also a running dog, for example a whippet, will be far better equipped of chasing down a rabbit or something else in the field, because they are so fast. They also have that really high prey drive. There goes my darling. And another thing is that if you have, for example, a dog that is dominant, and dominance, as mentioned earlier, is better than fear. A lot of dogs are now fearful, and fear is very hard to predict. Dominance is not hard to predict, in my opinion. But if you have a dominant dog, you also should take care when they engage with other dogs. For example, if you have a dog that is a male and is only dominant against males, of course you can be far more relaxed if he is interacting with another female dog. But for example, if he's interacting with another male dog, better be ready to pull him back on the line, and I would not advise to let the dogs play without the line in place if you don't have the ability to interact. If those dogs are not nice to each other. I know what's there. We have some food. Take a little bit of bread. Has been thrown, and now that crow has it, as you can see there. Another piece. It's not a good thing, eh? Because by doing so, you will attract rodents, and even those cute birds are killers. Crows and the likes, including ravens, magpie. We also know that's the Vlaamse gaal. There's another breed, as you can see. But this is not only attracting those, but also rats and other rodents. It's a bad thing. And they think they help those animals through the winter. But the winter is gone now, that's one. And the other thing is, you will often only help those opportunistic animals the most, and those will rain their terror upon the other animals, which decreases their chances of survival. Okay, but that being said, if you look at your own dog with an open mind. And of course, some dogs, even when they're dominant, are able to play with other dogs. But please keep your eyes open and act appropriately. It's a nice pleasure that dogs can play and also be running in the wild, so to say. It is not the wild, it's just they have room to run, and they still should come back to you. You don't want your dog to engage with another dog, especially of a person that doesn't want their dog to engage. If they have the dog on the line and your dog is not on the line and they will clash, this is not a good thing. Of course, always accidents can happen, but a lot of time they can be prevented by responsible ownership. And you're also doing the breed no good if you give it a bad representation instead of a positive one. And if you have a dog that is capable, the chances are that they want to do something with their capabilities are always there. If you have a Labrador or a Springer Spaniel, oftentimes they just want to retrieve and put something in their mouth. If you have a Bull&Terrier, they just want to rumble. And they also play, they play rambociously. So for example, this little guy, he's not a trouble starter, but he will be ready. You see it in his body language. If he engages with another dog, especially one that he doesn't know, he's ready. And I don't think he will make the first move so much, but he's already ready. And that is a thing that helps the dog, of course, in surviving, to always be ready when they think the action calls for that. It's better that they have to prepare themselves once it happens. But you should always be there also to have his back. A dog will try to defend you when someone will try to hit you or steal from you or something else. But you should always be ready to also protect your animal against itself, against you if you were not that vigilant, but also against other animals, or for example glass on the street that can come into his paws when you're done walking, especially when it is wintry and there are some ice crystals, and more specifically salt. So in the Netherlands they put a lot of salt on the roads to diminish the snow, the slippery effects of snow. But that salt, if they are not removed, can bite. If they are in the little lobes in the paws, it's better to just rub them down. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. When I'm done with him, and even when he walks through mud, I just pull a rug over him, a little towel, and I'm done in 1 minute. Having done all his paws, his belly, mud in different places, even if he's soaked by rain, and then you can just enter him into your living room again. Responsible ownership. Have a great day. Ik dacht dat ze groter waren, maar je hebt ze zo kleiner, hè?
Ja, nou...
45 centimeter. Schofthoogte. Nee? Ja. Nou, dat scheelt, hè. Maar ik had ook gezegd dat ze echt die wolfsklauwen heeft.
Ja.
Dat ze nu bij krab toevallig.
We hebben pas geknipt, die waren helemaal rond.
Ja.
Groot, ja.
Zo lijkt de schofthoogte bijna hetzelfde, maar ik denk dat de spijker geen 45 centimeter is, hoor. Ik denk 41 of zo. Schofthoogte.
Zo, ik was niet zeker of je met mij aan het praten.
Ja, was met jou, want je zei dat ze 45 centimeter was, toch? Schofthoogte. Goedemorgen. Of niet? 40 centimeter.
Ja, ze is 140, ja.
Oh ja, hij is ook rond de 40, ik denk 41.
39, 40,
Ja.
dus hij is eigenlijk aan de kleine kant.
Ja, oké, ze moeten 45
Voor
zijn
de
voor...
officiële lijstonder is een centimeter te klein.
Oh, 1 centimeter te klein, oh jee. What to do?
Oh, ik heb er geen probleem mee.
Nee, het is toch leuk?
Ja, ze past overal op en aan.
Ja.
En onder.
En weet je ook hoeveel ze weegt?
Ja, nu 11 kilo.
11
maar
kilo.
dat is weet dat het te zwaar. De dierenarts zegt ook te zwaar.
Ja.
Maar als ik kijk online, hoe dat ze horen te wegen, is het niet zo zwaar.
Ja, ik dacht iets van 9 tot 14 kilo of zo.
Ja,
Ja.
het is, ze is niet te zwaar.
Hij is zwaarder.
Te zwaar.
Hij is zwaarder dan haar.
Wow. Botten. Ja, jij hebt sterke botten dan.
Ja,
En
sterke
spieren. Maar ze heeft heel veel vast.
Ja, ik heb het altijd niet meer gewogen, maar laatste keer woog ze 12 kilo, dus
Oké.
is een kilo
Ja.
zwaarder.
Misschien is ze ook inmiddels 12.
Kan
Ik denk
best,
het
ja.
niet, maar...
Ik weet het ook niet.
Nee, ik denk het niet, maar...
Hey.
Ja, misschien 11,5.
Ja, dat maakt toch ook al niet uit. Het gaat erom dat het hondje zich fijn voelt. Hè?
Ja, precies.
En je loopt er heel veel mee, dus dat is fijn.
Ja, dat is s'avonds en 's ochtends wel.
Dankjewel voor de uitleg. Hey. Hey. Wat lief hè.
Ja,
Hoi hoi. Dankjewel.